Hello, friends. Today's episode on family businesses is very special for me, and let me tell you why. When I woke up on Monday morning, there were two messages from somebody who has been listening to my talks and has been following what I speak about. And he had sent me a message late on Sunday night saying that he is from a family business. And he explained that the business was started by his uncle, and then his father joined the business. And today, the second generation, that is, he himself, who is the only son of his father, and two sons of the uncle are all in the business. But they're going through challenging times. Challenging times to the extent where, except for business, they have practically stopped talking to each other. And he requested that I should speak about something on how to mend such broken relationships or stressed relationships and how they can go forward to a happier relationship of the past. I responded to him saying that I will take this topic up very soon and hopefully next week itself, and that I hope he gets some help from that talk. Yesterday night, day before yesterday night, he messaged me saying that they have the next family meeting on Sunday, and therefore he would like me to talk about it before that. And then he wants a physical meeting sometime after that family meeting, at which he's going to propose that yours truly be brought in as a consultant/mentor. And therefore, the content I had prepared for yesterday's talk, which was actually the day for family business talk, I had to shelve. And I have made some notes. Of course, the preparation time was just 24 hours, but I have made some notes on how such businesses which are broken on and stressed out can be set straight, and what are some of the traits that one needs to develop and cultivate so that the business runs smoothly and without any hitch. The person has promised that he and his brother, one of his brothers, have been following my talks pretty regularly. But he's waiting for this recording so that before Sunday's meeting, he can get his other brother as well as his father and uncle to look at it, mull over it, and then sit down for the meeting. My friend, I can tell you that what I'm going to talk of is not rocket science, but yes, it will help you to get your thoughts straight. And I will be more than happy to consult with you anytime you want. And I wish you all the very best. I do not like the idea of successful businesses breaking up only because of certain misunderstandings, misgivings, lack of clarity, etc., that go on between the partners. All partnerships, especially long-term partnerships, face challenges. If anybody can say that all partnerships are smooth sailing and it's like walking on a bed of roses, I would take that with more than a pinch of salt. You're going to find me referring to my notes today. So the idea is that the challenges are there and they will always be there. How do you address them? How do you make sure that they will not make you sink? And I think one of the key things, or one of the important things, is to get all the key issues, whatever is the issue that is challenging for all of the partners, on the table in a timely manner. Don't defer it, don't procrastinate on discussing it in such a way that that small problem, hopefully, becomes a huge, immense one. So it is important to bring those to the table and discuss them forthright, with all honesty, with all transparency, and that will definitely lead to a greater success and a far more happier business than one with challenges that are hanging around. A lot of times the partners, now I'm talking of a business in general, and I know the complication when the partners are also family. And more often than not, the challenges of the business do penetrate the homes of the partners. And then even the family relationships get stressed and strained. As this friend of mine, I have not met him ever, but told me on his message on WhatsApp. So friend, let's start. I'm sure this talk that I'm going to give is going to be useful to everybody who's in a business, whether family business or otherwise. Anybody who's in a business where he is not the sole owner. So it may be a partnership, it may be some kind of a collaboration, but these challenges are going to be there. And you have to avoid this conflict by resolving it, not by pushing it under the carpet. And therefore, we are going to talk of how you can resolve this carpet and mend these broken relationships that you have to a great extent. So the first point about this is that you need to start now. Maybe it's already late, no matter. It would have been easier to solve if it was done earlier, when that particular challenge really cropped up. But even then, it's not too late, but you have to start now. Don't procrastinate any further. And therefore, the first thing I will tell you is, before you sit down for your Sunday meeting, each of you, all 5 of you all who are active in the business, should sit down and make a list of what are the pain points for each one of you. And against each pain point, you write ABC, basically an ABC analysis of all the pain points. And then when you sit down to talk, let each one by turn take the first pain point of A category. If somebody does not have any A category, okay, then he keeps quiet at that time. Finish the round of all A category pain points as noted by all 5 of you. And do this and then sit and discuss it and find the resolution. So you need to start now. You cannot delay it, okay? Because by delaying it, it just gets more rocky and it gets worse. Basically, it's not going to become any easier. If you wish it away, doesn't happen. And if it is something that disappears by wishing it away, it wouldn't be a conflict in the first stage. So don't wish it away or don't think it is going to go away. Sit down, address it. So make a list of all the pain points that you have and then sit down and take them one by one, following the ABC analysis. If a partner doesn't have any category as a pain point he has mentioned, and he doesn't have anything that is so critical to be in the A category, that's perfectly fine. In fact, he's the better partner, I would say, okay, who's accepting that nothing is going to destroy your partnership and your family. Okay, so start now. Don't procrastinate on discussing it. A lot of times what happens, and I really appreciate you, my friend, for having thought of that and sent me messages about it, is that you need to get help. And the help, I'm telling you again, the help does not always come from an external consultant like me. The help can come from within the family. They can come from within friends and relatives. But whomever you appoint to help you, you have to make sure that he is neutral, okay? And that all five of y'all trust his judgment and are willing, most important, are willing to abide by whatever is discussed with him and whatever decision comes up. You cannot have a situation where the mentor or the person who is acting as the negotiator and you decide something, and then after that, one of the partners says, "Oh, but I don't want to do this." That makes things worse. And it makes things worse exponentially. So get help. And that third party is going to be the most helpful person you can. And you know, there are other advantages of getting a third. He, if he's capable enough, will depersonalize all the issues you have. And that is very important, because when everything becomes a personal issue, resolving it becomes all the more difficult, because then not only relationships, but ego comes into play. And ego, once it comes into play, will destroy things more than help. Ego works in both ways. At times, to satisfy your ego, you're going to do work better, you're going to do more so that your ego is satisfied. But at the same time, an ego which held on to without proper support and reason can lead to destruction. So getting a third party can depersonalize and therefore make you more objective about the discussion and the topic that is being discussed. And of course, as I said before, whoever you bring for the third party, everybody must trust. And that is why generally it is far easier to get an outsider to help than from someone within the family. Because from within the family, it's going to be a relative of one of the brothers, or it's going to be a relative of one of the founding brothers. And that always leads to a certain amount of bias, even if that person tries his level best to remain neutral. So get help. In fact, after Sunday's meeting, as you have said, you're going to propose, but this is something that you five must decide. Even if that meeting just ends up with sharing the pain points of all five of you all with each other and deciding on whom you want to help you to sort it out, that meeting is successful. Okay, so I'm hoping that your Sunday meeting is really successful, but please do your homework before you go in for that meeting on Sunday. And yes, make it a nice meeting. Make it a meeting where you are friendly, you are putting your mind at ease and not just thinking about that sheet of paper where you have listed all the challenges that you want to discuss. Meet as friends, probably as you used to meet before all these challenges crept up. So get help, and that's going to help. Another important thing is to talk live. Nowadays, and it happens with me, with many, especially the youngsters, Gen Z, they won't pick up the phone. But if you message them, they answer it. I don't think this is a good habit, especially when it comes to resolving challenges and within friends, partners, and family. Talk live. You know, the way you talk, the words you use conveys a lot. So even if you might be complaining about something that is very critical, the tone in which you say it, the tone in which you convey it to the person or persons is going to determine how that person reacts to your challenge. And therefore, talk live. You can never convey that emotion through an email or a message or anything. In fact, email, text messages, or other electronic communication has really got a very low bandwidth. Okay, and that bandwidth is so low that, as I said, it cannot convey the emotions and deeper feelings and meanings that you are trying to convey to the other person. And then what happens? The chances of misinterpretation, misunderstanding of what you are saying increase. And that increase leads to a worse situation. It's not helping in it. So talk live. Don't try to send everything to communication. Don't ever reach a situation, especially within family, where you cannot talk to each other. That is the worst thing to do, and you should avoid it at all costs. The next important point is clarify your intentions. See, don't go with an ulterior motive. Clarify, be transparent. At the end of the day, you are family and you want to work together. You're partners also. So your challenges are actually compounded. They are compounded exponentially because family challenges can be very trying just by themselves. And when they're combined with business challenges, things can go out of hand. So clarify your intentions. When you are saying that we should do this, explain, and by talking live, explain why. Don't just do it because you want to do it. There has to be a reason. There has to be intent behind anything that you want to do. And your intent, when you explain it, it has to be without heated emotions. You have to do it with a cool, calm mind, mental clarity, because these are two things that get hit immediately when you are not talking in a proper manner. So when emotions are hot or when the mental clarity is not good, do not talk, do not convey things, because more often than not, you will say it in the wrong way, using the wrong words, in the wrong tone. And that escalates challenges. That does not diffuse challenges. So maybe just talk to them and tell them that, okay, put it in such a way like you are having challenges. You are stepping on my toe, I'm stepping on my this thing. Tell him, look, can we go back to where we were all doing our work properly and reviewing it in a regular, periodic manner? Or can we go back and do business having fun the way we used to? Why is that so difficult? So clarify your intentions and be very frank about it and word it in such a way. As I said, it's very simple to word it properly. Why can't we go back to doing business the way we? Let's just each one do our job and review periodically as we used to. Tension diffused. You won't step on the other person's toes. And whenever you have to tell the person something, it is planned manner. Those periodic meetings are planned. That gives everybody the time required to plan properly what he's going to say, how he's going to say it, and to whom he's. Now, many a time, the challenge is only with maybe one of the partners. Okay? You have a problem with the uncle, but you don't have a problem with his sons. Generation gap comes into play, but yes, that is possible. Do it in the right way to the right person. Don't feel ashamed or don't feel hesitant to tell the uncle that you feel this way. In fact, I would go a step further. Tell him that, uncle, I don't have these problems with these two guys. Why do we have a problem? That's the way to talk about it very calmly, very this thing, and don't say, but you are doing that. No, not going to help you. Okay, so you have to do things in such a way. Well, at times you might reach a stage of no return, and the only solution is to break the partnership. Not that I have ever advised. I have already worked with families, not only within Mumbai, but in various towns across Gujarat, Rajasthan, and UP. And well, I'm proud to say that every one of the families I consulted with are still in business together and are still happy. Okay, so talks a lot about what can be done if you have the right person to negotiate and settle your challenges. Whatever it is the intention, it should be shared. Whatever is your intention, clarify it, share it with everybody, and make sure that it is mutually beneficial. You cannot suggest something that only benefits you. It has to be mutually beneficial. All five of y'all should be okay with it. And especially the business should be okay with it. If something is good for you but bad for the business, trust me, you're on the wrong path. I wouldn't even advise you to list something like that as a part of your challenges. It has to be whatever you have, whatever you want to discuss, clarify your intentions, and you have to make sure that it is beneficial to one and all in the family as well as in the business. Maybe you are 8 brothers, 7 brothers, okay? And only 3 of you are in the business. But if it's a family business, they have their money parked in you. And therefore, they have an interest that you run the business well. And therefore, even those people who are not in your business but are family should be okay with it. Maybe you don't consult them on a day-to-day exercise or managing the business. I think we've discussed this in one of my earlier talks. But they are involved and they have a stake. Their money is parked in you, in your company, as the stake that they have. If they say, okay, I don't want to be a part of the company, you're going to shell out a lot of money to take over their share. Okay. And make some ground rules, friends. One person talks at a time. You do not interrupt somebody who is talking. Yes, if somebody is very verbose, like me, maybe you say, okay, you've got 2 minutes to talk, or you've got 3 minutes to talk, and explain your point in 3 minutes. But make sure that everybody is controlled and talks properly. Also, don't interrupt or don't yell. Never do that. I know I tend to yell, but trust me, that doesn't help. So, yes, it may get me some temporary relief, but in the long run, no. So don't yell. And stay in the conversation. Don't walk out. That's the most insulting thing you can do. So don't walk out, no matter how difficult the conversation is. The next point that I would like to talk about here is identify the A categories issues very clearly. They are the issues that are important to isolate, and they are the ones that cause the maximum challenges. Actually, in this case, I would like to use the word problems. They are the ones that are the root cause of all the problems that you have. So, all those key issues that you have, which are the A category ones from the list that you make, need to be resolved, and resolve them calmly, quietly, taking external help if necessary. And you need to strategically identify and address such hotspots to mitigate the damage it can do to the business and also to the family. Sometimes you find a business solution which works, but for the family solution, for the family relationships, that solution may not. Okay, so you need to sit down at times, and I have done that in all the cases. I have one session with the wives of the partners. A lot of times, things get worse when business challenges start going home. Because then it's the wives, the children maybe, who get affected. That's not a nice thing. And every time you bring up anything, be compassionate. And when I say be compassionate, I'm going to say start with yourself. First, be compassionate with yourself, and then for every single person who is involved in that challenge. Okay, even if it is a manager, where 5 partners have 5 different views about the manager, right from one saying that, oh, he's brilliant, to the other saying he's crap. But be compassionate. And be compassionate when you're discussing him. because he could have challenges. He could have challenges which some of you don't know about. So be compassionate, listen to what this thing is, find out the background and the story of where that challenge is coming from, especially in the case of family members. Okay. And look, businesses are hard, especially in today's times, they're harder than ever. So you need to make sure that people understand you and that they do not get off track. Okay. I think these are my main points. And before I wind up, I'd just like to say that we are living in challenging times. And businesses today are getting more challenging than ever. And COVID, which upset a lot of supply chains, which may not have got back yet, hasn't helped. In the post-COVID area, there was a boom for some time because of what we term as revenge buying, revenge shopping. But that too is now dying out. And you're going to go through another phase where compared to the last maybe 2 years, you're not going to do as well. And therefore, at such times, you need to make sure that all partners, all family members are on the page, recognize these challenges that are going to, the business is going to face, and make sure that everything moves smooth. This is what I have to say about how to mend such strained and broken relationships. But I think this whole discussion would not be good enough unless I point out, I'm not going to take too much time, but unless I point out what are the essential traits of a strong family business. Okay. Family businesses are very important at a national as well as a global level. A lot of businesses you see, though professional, are actually family businesses. The Walmarts, the Ambanis, they are all family businesses at the end of the day. And such businesses create jobs. We know what we are talking of, the kind of numbers that these family businesses create jobs for. They spur innovation. You know, a lot of times family businesses are quicker to react than corporates who have a lot of red tape and procedural setups. So they spur innovation, and generally speaking, they drive much better returns on investment. Okay, so family businesses are something that you must nurture. And to make sure that these family businesses are really thriving, it can be achieved by following certain ground rules. Okay, like you must maintain good governance. I have seen that missing in some of the family businesses I have consulted with. But maintaining good governance is very, and some systems need to be set up for that. You need to identify and develop both the family and the non-family talent within the organization. So of course, family talent comes first, but even the non-family talent has to be developed, because you can't do everything. Even if you are 10 partners, you cannot do everything. There will be certain things that are actually, the tasks are below your pay scale and you don't want to do them. And I understand that. So you have to develop your non-family team members also. And you need to, I have talked about this quite a lot, you need to have a disciplined succession plan. And a succession plan that preserves, that takes care of the family gravity. I'm sure you understand what I mean by family gravity. And it's very important that you understand this. So now that we talk of family gravity, what are the things that a family business should take care of so that family gravity, which is key, because family gravity will include both the business part and the relationship at the personal level. So what are the key things? What are the traits that one should have so that this family gravity is managed and maintained? The first thing is define the values, both as a family as well as a business. And they cannot be divergent. You cannot say, I'm going to be very ethical in my personal life, but I'm going to be a non-ethical person in my business. No. You need to define the values for both the business and they must be in sync. You cannot have them so differing, so different that it's impossible to draw the line about when it is personal and when it is work. So once you have such values defined, there's a framework that is created for the values. Once that is done, the continuity of the relationship, both in business and personal family, becomes far easier because there are rules that are set. There are things that you will abide by. And while these are not rules or laws, so to say, they are guidelines by which every member of the family and you know what is important? Whenever a new member joins the family, some son getting married, some daughter getting married, that son or daughter has to explain the family values to their spouse. Because at the end of the day, they are also going to get affected, even if they have no part in the business. So define values and your value system very clearly, preferably put it in writing as a note. It's not something you hang on the wall. No, but put it in writing and let each one of them be able to see and make sure that he's not missing anything. And by constant repetition, trust me, it gets imbibed so well within you that you are never going to miss or forget something. The second thing is, as in a business, as in a family, you have to have a vision for the future. There is nothing that can happen without a vision for the future. And for both the family and the business, that is very, very important. Okay. The third point is involvement. There should be complete involvement, both in the personal front and the business front, of the family members who are associated. Yes, if a family member is not working in the business, his involvement is limited to more being on the personal front. But at the same time, he has to be involved. He has to understand the value system. He has to have the vision for the future, even if he's working at it independently. There has to be cohesion and interaction between each family member. 3 of the companies I consulted with, after my consultations with them and after things got streamlined, you're not going to believe it, but in 2 of the families, it is the wives who are not in business who have been planning annual holidays for the whole family. Imagine 18 of them, the parents or the father and brother with their children, with their grandchildren, all of them going for a holiday together. And these are communicated, the times and dates are communicated well in advance, so that everybody in the business or not in the business doing some other work, whether it's a job, whether it's something, are able to plan their holiday and make sure that they are available for those dates. In fact, now what they do is that when they go on a holiday, they decide the dates of the next holiday at the holiday itself. Damn good. And they're bonding so well. So you need to have cohesion and you need to be sure that you interact with one another on a proper personal scale and support them when necessary. You don't only be friends in happier times. Somebody is going through a bad phase personally. One of the persons who's not working in the family business gets laid off. One of the persons gets ill. You need to support them. They need that backing. And nothing is better than having a network which is supportive, especially in your times of trouble. So you must have cohesion and interaction. You must have good family governance. A lot of families, the patriarch of the family is the one who governs. But I think in today's times, as we delegate responsibilities in business, so also we need to delegate responsibilities and governance in families. The patriarch, say, is a grandfather. Okay, for him, a household budget, if I'm throwing numbers, okay, don't go by them, of say 200,000 rupees a month is too high. And he feels it should not be more than 80,000 rupees. Now, this is where the next generations, because if you're 20 of y'all, it's probably going to be at least 3 generations, maybe 4 in some cases. Depends if you're a good Jew and got, or a Marwadi and got married early, it could well be 4 generations. So you need to make sure that the governance also is well defined. And this governance is as important on the personal front as it is in the business front. In the business front, it is very important so that you don't step on each other's toes. But on the personal front, it is important because of the reason I just gave you. Things change, but people don't always change that easily. Okay, and people don't change that easily, and therefore the challenges remain much longer. Okay, and you have to have the principles of leadership. What I would suggest, my friend, is go through the few talks on leadership that I have given, and also get all of you all to listen to those. I know it's going to be time consuming. You are looking probably at about 3 hours or 3.5 hours of listening to my voice, but I think it will help you at the end. So leadership principles and roles, well defined. Within the home also. Who is the queen of the kitchen? Who is the king of the bar? All of these roles need to be defined. Yes, then whoever is the leader has to make sure that he or she understands the likes and dislikes of everybody around. So leadership roles and principles need to be defined. What I would suggest to you, my friend, is that when you are in the meeting, I think I've given you enough work to do before the meeting. So when you are in the meeting, or maybe after the meeting, each of you, preferably during the meeting so that you can have a joint consensus on this right away, take these 6 points that I have made and sit down and analyze them and check where you stand today. Do your own analysis for yourself, for your company as well as home. So once you have done that, it'll be much easier for you to implement it. So let me repeat those 6 points for you. Starting from the first, create your value system and define the values both as a company and as a family. Plan the future, have a vision for the future. All of this need to be done both for the business as well as for the family. Make sure everybody who's involved in whatever work is there fully involved. So people who are working in the business need to be fully involved. The others need to be fully involved in the family value system and the family vision of the future. There has to be cohesion and interaction. More often than not, everybody who's in the business probably meets every day. Okay? If you don't, start doing it. Not every day. I think that might be a waste of time. But definitely once a week or once in 2 weeks, where you sit down and discuss everything. So you must have cohesion and interaction. That's 4. You must have family governance. This is, as I said, more important at the personal level, but it is a must. And you must have leadership principles and roles spelled out. So these are the 6 points where I would suggest that you, when you sit down, all 5 of you all, actually for this, maybe you even call in your 5 better halves, if they are all there. And if you're all married and if they are all living, get all of them together and sit down and define these 6 things that will, trust me, ensure that in future, you don't have a situation that you are in today. With this, my friend, I wish you all the best for your Sunday meeting. I will be eagerly awaiting to hear from you on how the meeting has gone and what are the next steps we want to take. And friends, this, as I said, is meant for everybody, whether you're a family business or not. A lot of these things hold true for every single business. And therefore, I really hope this has helped you, and try to keep it in mind, try to practice it, and I'm sure it's going to benefit you in many, many ways. Thank you for listening. I hope you had a good time listening to this. And if you did, please, as always, like my video, subscribe to my channel. From the amount of messages I've received, there are very few subscriptions yet. I think you need to take a little effort and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.